What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Now, before we get into Zach's interview, this is a deck list that he used to get top 8 at Kansas State. And as you see, it is a TDK deck. And I'm really excited because we haven't seen TDK do great or do that well since Fall Regionals. And basically, it revolves around Thunders, which attack Raiden Knuckle, which you attach an energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. And it can be energy. It doesn't have to be a special kind. And you can attach to any of these Pokemon in the deck. And you have Deoxys here, which has the ability Power Connect, which makes it where each of your team plasma Pokemon do 10 more damage. And this does it for as many Deoxys you have on the bench. So if you have 3, you do 30 more, which is pretty cool. But your main attacker in this deck is Kyurem. Kyurem has the attack Blizzard Burn, which does 120, but this Pokemon can't attack during your next turn. But like I said, with 3 Deoxys, you're doing 150, and with the Muscle Band, you're doing 170, which seems pretty solid. And then see, he does play 1 Absol, which Absol does 20, plus 20 for each Pokemon on the bench, on your opponent's bench. So if he has 5, if he or she has 5 on the bench, it can do 120 that way, which is pretty solid. Just like that's as much as Kyurem's attack, but for less energy. And it can attack it again next turn. But like I said, with 30 Oxes and a Muscle Band, you do 170, which one-shots most DXs nowadays. And as see, he does play 2 Genesect. Most of the time, you only see 1 because you use the ability Red Signal. But he actually talks about how he attacks with it, which seems pretty cool. As you see, he does play the 1 Grass with the 4 Rainbow, so he has the ability to attack with it. Another noticeable thing in this deck is he does play 2 Plasma Frigate. Most of the time when you see this deck, they're either playing like Lasers or Verbanks, or they're playing Frozen City, but this time Zach chose to use Plasma Frigate, and he talks about it in his interview, so it's really cool that he played it. But hopefully you enjoyed this interview, and thanks for watching. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we're doing another States question answer video with Zach. And Zach, where are you from?
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
And what states are we talking about?
I went to the Kansas
Okay.
States.
Alright. And how'd you end up doing a Swiss?
I went 4-1-1 in Swiss.
Okay. And what were the decks that you played against, and did you win or lose against them?
Round 1, I played up against a Mega Gardevoir deck, and it was like his first time playing it, really, and he didn't really get any explosive starts or anything, and I was able to win. And then second round, I played up against another Gardevoir, and I ended up tying that one because he just got really insane starts. And then round 3 was against Toadtoph with a Reshiram in it, or a Reshiram or 2, I don't remember.
Okay.
That game went close. Round 4 was up against, no, round 3 was, I played up against Dark Yveltal with Toad. Then round 4 was the Toadtoph.
Okay.
Round 5 was Primal Groudon, and round 6 was Landovac. And the only loss was to the Yveltal in round 3.
Okay. So, what happened against the Evital player? Because usually the Thunders should help you with the Evital matchup.
Well, I was playing up against Britt Pybus. Yeah, that's who it was. And like game 1, I started Deoxys, and it wasn't really nice, and I couldn't really ever get set up. And then game 2, I made a really risky play, and instead of like taking 4 turns to knock out a Toad, I benched a Deoxys to get a 3-turn knockout with Kyurem, and I got Lysandered and then Quaking Punch, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Okay.
So it was a greedy play, but yeah.
Okay. Well, going to top 8, are you excited? Are you nervous?
Well, I was excited because I made top 8, but the downside is that we had a family affair to get to, so I couldn't actually play in top 8. So I had to scoop top 8 in the before I even got a chance to play, which it sucked. I was really excited because I was playing up against one of my friends, Michael Hopkins, who ended up getting second, I believe, with Executor, and I actually never played that matchup with Plasma v Executor, so it would have been interesting and fun.
Yeah. What do you think would have happened?
I would have either donked him twice, or it would have been probably a loss for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it would just depend, like, how explosive a turn I would get turn 1, and see how many of my resources I could get out before I'd get supporter lock, because there's no draw, like no bikes or skates or anything with trainers. So the supporter lock would have been hard, and it might have been hard to get energies, at least in the discard pile, because I only run the 1 Ultra Ball and the dowsing machine.
Okay. Well, still, top 8's pretty good, so congratulations, sir.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So you did play the one Absol. Why did you decide to play that?
I've always liked Absol, especially like when I first played Plasma back in 2012 when it came out. I played the Speed Tornadoes at Nationals, but yeah, that was a fun deck. But
Yeah.
Absol's always been good just because it like bench space is so important in the meta right now, especially now with a bunch of with Toads playing Slurpuffs for support. I mean, they're getting 2 to 3 of those out, maybe even 4 if they're really good, plus an extra Toad or two. You have Bats that are playing a lot. You have Darkrai decks, which have always just had an immense bench because they always need to keep their Yveltals up. They need to keep their baby Yveltals. And then, other than that, I wasn't really expecting many other decks,
Mhm.
and that probably would have been bad on me because I didn't really think about Executor or other decks like that. But Executor, even thinking about that, they normally have like a Virizion or something. There may be Mime, Muna if you're playing it, maybe another Executor or something. So I don't ever think that Absol would have been a bad choice, except if I was up against like Groudon, which I ended up hitting, but I never benched it against Groudon.
Okay. So you do play two Genesect when like most TDK plays just play one. Why did you decide to play two?
Well, it might not have been the best idea after going to the tournament because it didn't really help too terribly much. But my mind going into it was there's just going to be way too much Genesect, or not Genesect, too much Toad, and Genesect could easily just do something against that.
Hmm.
So I figured that bringing Genesect, 2 Genesects would have been better than bringing just one. And if one got prized or something, I had something to do against Toad.
Okay. Now you talked about earlier where you only played one Ultra Ball. Do you think you ever wanted like a second or third one to put energy in the discard? Do you think the one was enough?
I think the one was enough, especially because I don't know, because I never really attacked with Thunderous at this tournament a lot. I mean, it was maybe the first turn or two, and even then, I was getting a bunch of like I was always having like Sycamores or something in my hand, or even the Dowsing, and I don't know, maybe, but I don't. I think I like the 4 Plasma Ball over the instead of having like a 3-2 split or something like that.
Hmm.
I like the 4 just because it would maybe it wouldn't force me to use all my resources on one search.
Yeah, that's true. Now you decided to play two Plasma Frigate instead of like a Frozen City. Why did you decide to go with that stadium?
Um, I was going into it thinking that I'd run the Thumb Victini like with Toad or something, so I wanted my Genesects to be fine. But and then when I was like going on the card ride, I'm like, oh, this helps against Landorus and stuff for my Thunderuses. And after like experiencing the tournament, they didn't really help much except for get a lot of resources out of my opponents because they would have to force to like because against that Toad Puff with the Reshiram, I was able to set up a Genesect and knock out his Toad, and he had his Reshiram ready to Laser Bank knock me out. But
Hmm.
like right before I announced Megalo, I dropped the Frigate, and he was like, "What? You play Frigate?" So and against like the Landers and the Groudon, the same thing. It was more along the lines of they would just have to burn resources, but I think Frozen City would have been a lot better of a choice, or even just like some I don't know some other stadium.
Okay.
Frigate wasn't the best play.
Yeah. So after playing the tournament, would you make any more changes that we haven't talked about to your deck?
I would have probably changed the Genesect to an Absol and the Frigate to the Frozen City. Other than that, let me look at the list really quick.
Yeah.
Um, there wasn't really much. Maybe changing maybe adding another Lysander for something because I never felt I really drew into my Lysanders.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was about it. Just the Lysander. It felt iffy most of the time I was playing, which was fine. It wasn't like the end all be all because I was playing the 2 Genesect, but I'd rather have taken a Genesect for an Absol, somehow fit in the Lysander, and change the frigates or something.
Okay. Well, how many championship points are you at currently?
I think I'm at 80 or something, so I have to do really well at regionals and nationals.
Okay. So regionals, are you going anywhere?
I'm planning on going to Kansas and maybe Wisconsin.
Okay. So I know it's Kansas a month away, but are you still expecting to play TDK, or is there any deck start piquing your interest?
I'm probably not going to play TDK. I'm looking into probably some like miniature toad variant. I was liking that list a little bit. Um, I'm seeing a resurgence of Rosy and Genesect, and that's been like the deck I played all last season, and I did extremely well with it. So I don't know, maybe looking into a Virgin list. Never been a really big fan of Dark, so I'm probably not gonna play that.
Hmm.
And maybe if I can't find anything, I'll just play TDK again.
Okay. Well, do you want to give any shout outs to anybody?
I'd like to give a shout out to Jay Young because he was the one that challenged me to play TDK because I wasn't. I was like, I don't know what deck to play for Kansas. He's like, why don't you just build TDK? And I'm like, is it gonna beat Toad at all? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, I'll just like when we like built the Toad deck and we built the TDK and I 2-1'd him, and that was like all the real testing I got in. And I'm just like, all right, I'm playing this deck. So I'd like to give a shout out to Jay because hey.
Yeah. Alrighty, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and good luck at regionals.
All right, thank you for doing the interviews.
Alright, you're welcome, man.
And like, comment, subscribe to the video and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
channel.
Alright, exactly. Alrighty, man. Take care.
You too.
Alright.